Welcome everybody again to another MetaSilk Behind the Art. Today we have an extremely talented artist, HalfHuman. HalfHuman, really appreciate you jumping on a call this afternoon.
Thanks for having me.
So looking at your pieces, and I'll be honest with you, most of the artists, I interview traditional artists, photographers. You are my first furniture artist or wood maker.
Yeah.
So I guess to kick things off, where do you seek your inspiration for your woodworking?
A good question. I think I draw most of my influence from, like our everyday life experiences in whatever spaces we are in, the natural world, other art forms, and really just everyday life and how we move through it, how we function in it.
What is there a piece? I mean, I have a favorite piece of yours, and it's sitting right behind you. What's your favorite? What piece are you most proud of?
I would have to agree with you. It's this one right here.
Oh, it is that one?
Yeah.
What's the, is the shelf stone, or is that a?
So the shelves are also the same wood as this. This is white oak.
Okay.
This is also white oak, but I bleached it and then finished it with a white pigmented oil. So it gives that kind of like bleached vibe. But it's both from the same tree. And I think it's my favorite just because it kind of takes in a bunch of curves and angles, different levels, kind of mimics some watercraft and some natural forms. So I think that's why I love it.
Yeah, when I first saw it, I actually thought that was marble. All of those pieces. Like from this angle, it actually looks like marble.
That would be cool.
So I guess when you bleached it, like you physically just like submerged it in some bleach, or is it like a process to that?
Right. Yeah, no, normal bleach doesn't work. And that's pretty bad to inhale. So I try to work with like natural finishes just to, stay all natural.
Okay.
Less chemicals, but there's a wood finish that's a part A, part B, and you apply it and you soak the wood, like you're pretty much soaking it in part A solution. You let it sit for 10 minutes, depending on the wood species, you let it sit longer. And the longer you let it sit, the more it bleaches, so you can kind of control it. So I found a happy medium of the tone I like. But you let part A sit for like 10 minutes, it soaks, and then you apply part B, and then the reaction happens, and then you have to like neutralize it with some white vinegar and all that, and then sand it back, but not sand it back too much. There's a little.
So there's a whole process to this.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that moves into the next question of, what are your tools that you use to create these? Is there kind of a lot of go-to tools in wood making? I'm not too familiar about it.
Right. No, it's a good question. I think a lot of woodworkers have different processes, but I found through my different art forms and different mediums I've worked in, pencil and paper is always a good starting point for me. I've always, started drawing. That's how I always start any project, flush out an idea or a concept really quick. But yeah, I use pencil and paper to calculator to 3D softwares, maybe a little clay if I have some lying around. But yeah, anything that helps me formulate a design or a concept or a form.
What made you gravitate to woodworking?
I think touching back on, I worked in 2D for like the first 18 years of my life, sketching and whatnot with pencil. But I got bored not really bored. I was unsatisfied with just a piece of paper because I was afraid like it could get ruined and not last forever. So I wanted to make something that could, kind of stand the test of time and last for more people to enjoy. So I kind of gravitated more towards clay, worked in three-dimensional materials, more hands-on things. Went to college. I actually got a BFA in craft and material studies, which is a little weird sounding, but I basically messed around with all the materials, and I found wood to be really satisfying to work with, just because of the challenge as well as the natural aspects. And as you work with it and peel each layer back, it reveals a new like story of the tree. It's like trees just hold a lot of information, and working with them, it's a little collaboration with nature.
Yep.
And I think that just that concept alone really draws me to woodworking. But then the furniture aspect of it, I think I found that, throughout the day, you interact with furniture all the time, and, you might stub your toe on a corner of something, or you might, something might just not be big enough. And I think those little things throughout the day make a difference. And everyone kind of relates to that. It's a universal understanding. So I think, putting a little spin on furniture was a fun idea. And now that I'm doing it and running my own little small furniture business, I found that making furniture, allows me to help enhance someone's everyday life a little bit. And also, they can have a say in it and they can customize it. So they have a little connection to it too, and they can pass it down because it's going to last forever. They can pass it down to the next generation.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. I like that. I like that concept as well. It's almost like building a house, right? You build out the house and you appreciate it more because you had say in the painting and the granite countertops that you chose and the molding and the hardwood floors and everything. And you taking that similar approach is very cool because once you receive it, it's your artwork, which is great. But then you also feel like you have a stronger connection to it. It has a story behind it. So then when people see it, like, people want to talk about that piece because, you were part of the creation of that.
Exactly.
It's smart.
Thanks.
So out of all of your tools of trade, what's your favorite tool? Is there a go-to tool that you have on your end?
I think pencil and paper is my favorite.
It's pencil and paper. Okay.
Yeah,
It's not the sanding belt. You don't.
No. My hands, man. Ooh, they hurt. But pencil and paper. It was my roots to all of this, and it's my go-to, and it never fails me. Like, I think it's the go-to one, and it's my favorite.
I got one great story. I was using a sanding belt on a veneer, refurnishing some furniture, and I ground. The grit was too low, so it was too coarse, and I just knocked all the veneer off.
Yep.
And I was just like, oh, this ain't good. So then I had to re-veneer it. That's its own thing. That was
not with this stuff.
Yeah, it was a complete fail, and I was like, well, this is now garbage.
Veneer is tricky. I mean, it's also an art form of its own, working with veneer, because it's paper basically.
Oh, dude, it's 100% paper. Like, I sanded it for like 2 seconds, and the thing went down to the bone, and I was like, are you kidding me? I literally turned it on and touched it. I just had the wrong grit.
Yep.
I was trying to sand like metal or something. I don't know what I was. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah, no, it is. So stepping out of your art craft, what do you do outside of this, out of woodworking, out of creating furniture?
I mean, I pretty much dedicate all of my time to my art. I go on walks with my dog. I hang out with some friends. But yeah, I pretty much put all my creative energy every day. I have a lot of it, so I'm kind of just dedicated to it. Running my furniture business, working in this NFT space, connecting with people, just trying to build a community and share my art.
Very cool. How was it kind of moving into the NFT space? Because you're a very unique case. I don't think I've spoken to a single person who's doing what you're doing. And I live in spaces. I don't know if you see me there, but I basically live there. And you were the only project that I have heard so far in this type of furniture, woodworking, and we call it digiphysical, into that space from that perspective. So what was it like moving into the NFT space?
Right, that's a great question. I think it was fun for me, one, and very interesting and very attractive, because I didn't find it too difficult at first, I guess because I wasn't trying to force it really. I was kind of just, coming to hang out, trying to see what was going on with it. And Twitter Spaces, I could just put my headphones on while I worked and, listen to a ton of stories and listen to a ton of people around the world, which was amazing. You could hear people's stories from everywhere.
Yep.
So I think I took a little slow approach. I've only been in the NFT community like just over a month, but some Twitter Spaces helped me understand it. I got connected with some people and they educated me on some things. I have some friends who really pushed me to do the NFT furniture because they saw my woodwork, but they also saw that I rendered my furniture, and they were like, people are doing some cool 3D stuff. I wonder if that could ever be a thing. I don't know how you would do that, but just throwing it at you. And looking more into it, I realized that, you know, you gotta get a file to the right size and the right format in order to get it into a space. So I found that the most challenging, to get, you know, my actual piece of furniture into it. But just for getting into Web3, I think it's pretty easy if you just, you know, listen in and connect with people, ask questions, and do your own research. Definitely watch a ton of videos and read up. Having your mindset in the right place, having a positive attitude, and, you know, going at it with good intentions, I think you'll get a good response and people, you know, accept you and share your stuff and give you good feedback.
No, definitely. That's what spaces are great about. Just good feedback and good learning. If you go into the right spaces, there's always something to learn in these different spaces that they have, which is great. Yep. It's also just great for exposure in general.
Right.
What do you use to render out your models?
So I started learning in Fusion 360. I've more moved to Blender and Rhinoceros 7. Yep. Those are like pretty crazy interfaces to work with, but
yeah, right.
But it helps, you know. I started rendering my furniture to help people understand what I could bring to them, because I could see all like the pieces and things I want to make in my mind, but, you know, I really can't get it across to someone fast enough. So like having that thing, being able to rotate the 3D asset really helps someone understand it. And I would send these videos to people before I made them custom pieces, and they'd be like, awesome, go. And now I'm like, people can own those things and use them in their spaces and actually have an NFT of it and then have the real form of it. Yeah. So I think those 3D softwares allowed me to get into the NFT space easier. Yeah, I don't know if that answered your question.
No, definitely. The furniture NFT space is going to be a thing. Like, that's going to get hot. Yeah,
I think I've seen a couple.
1,000%, it's going to be a thing.
Yeah,
it already is a thing.
I've seen a couple cool things of NFT furniture. Not too much. It's not oversaturated at all, but not a lot of in real life utility. And it goes for a lot of money. So I think it's cool to try to make something affordable, you know, that people can connect with and have an NFT of, and have an in real life piece, and say they bought an NFT and got an in real life thing. Because I think that's helping people. The utility, I think, helps people jump on the NFT spaces, gets everybody else in. Definitely. And the more people that are in here, the more people understand and learn, and we can all grow together. So
yep, you should burn like the QR code into your furniture pieces, so when people can scan it, it'll OpenSea and show that you also own the digital version.
That's genius.
So that way you make the connection, because if people are in like, oh, what's that? And be like, oh, take your camera out, and it'll hit it and it'll pop OpenSea and be like, I also own the digital format of that.
I'm gonna have to order a brand. That is a really good idea.
Yeah, that'd be a cool way to connect those, and just kind of bringing the physical and the reality together, getting into the AR world and setting up all that stuff. Because imagine someone with glasses on and they have your furniture AR'd in as well. Right, I like give you the digital version of my buddy, and it's sitting in his house while the physical version's at my house. It'd be kind of sick.
I'm all about that. Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm getting on it.
So jumping into the more deep questions, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
I would have to say play to your strengths, definitely, because I think that's the best advice. It's simple and it's
valid. What's the worst piece of advice you've ever received?
Well, I was in school, and I normally would get a sheet of paper from the teacher, and, you know, you have to fill it out, do the work. But as they explain it, I would flip it over and start drawing on it. And I could process what they're saying while I'm drawing. It's just, my mind works that way. But one day I did that. And then the teacher noticed I was drawing as she was speaking, and she asked to talk to me in the hall. And she basically was just like, are you ever going to stop drawing? And I was just like, no. And then I was like, oh, oh Lord, that was like pretty bad. I shouldn't have said that. And she was like, that's not the right answer. But basically, don't stop doing what you're doing. And like, if you want to be creative and draw, like, don't let anyone stop you from being who you want to be. And I did stop drawing and I did the work, but I did the work and then flipped it right back over and kept drawing. Like stick to it. Definitely. Be who you are.
Very
Have
cool.
good intentions and you'll get good results.
You've got one of those bad teacher stories. I was like, remember, hey, Mr. Smith, remember when you told me drawing wasn't a good idea? Look at me now, Mr. Smith.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't really give me bad advice, but she was like pushing me to a spot. And I respect her because she put me in my place and I needed to do the work first.
Yep.
So do the work first and then, do your thing.
Totally makes sense. So if there was within reason one artist you'd like to see us interview next, within reach, who would that be?
I'm gonna shout out to my boy Coin Laundry. I'm not gonna talk about his stuff. I think he'll do a better job of doing that. But yeah, he's a chef, low key, but he's doing big things in Web3. So you should check him out.
Awesome. Well, we will add him to the list.
Yeah.
And just to wrap it all up, if you can just let everybody know, what are you working on? Where can people find you? We'd love to continue to follow you.
Right. So basically, I'm flushing out renderings of my furniture designs, and I'll be uploading those to OpenSea under HalfHumanNFT. And those will be 3D assets that you can purchase as NFTs, and then they'll have in real life utility, shipping included right now, within the United States, just while we get running. But yeah, you can find me on OpenSea. You can find me on Twitter. I have cool spatial you can check out, Instagram, all that.
Well, everybody who's listening, please take the time to take a look at HalfHuman's work. It's really incredible. It's a very unique NFT project here because we're talking about digiphysical. We're talking about furniture and high quality furniture. So please take the time to look through his profile and his spatial. I mean, his work shows that he's definitely taken the time to master out what he's been working on. So beautiful pieces, and really appreciate you jumping on a call this afternoon and showing your work and telling us your story.
For sure. Thank you so much for having me.